heavyweight scrap up next, where we got Alexander Volkov coming in at -175. He goes up against Waldo Cortes-Acosta, who comes in at +150. Now, Volkov coming off a split decision win over Jailton Almeida, a fight where I actually had Almeida as a lock of the night play, but that was the first fight where we really saw the fall off of Almeida, right? He obviously ended up losing against Rizvan Kuniev earlier this year and ended up getting cut. But Almeida got his takedowns, was able to get some decent control, but whenever Volkov found opportunities to land damage, he did. And that was enough for two judges to score that fight in his favor. But that was him coming off that split decision loss that he suffered at the hands of Cyril Gane. That was a fight where a lot of people believe that Volkov deserved to get the win, and I thought he deserved it as well. You know, it was a close fight, but I thought it was still one that you could give Volkov the edge there. Volkov at his best, nasty kickboxer, good head kicks, nasty knees, especially, 6'70", 80-inch reach. Very good striker and utilizing that range as well. Has decent power, stinging shots on his strikes. Has a BJJ black belt as well, right? We saw it on display when he got that Ezekiel choke against Tai Tuivasa. Can threaten with the submission game whenever he finds proper opportunities. When he's in Vegas now, he trains at this gym that is known for heavyweight grapplers. I think Honey Marks is often there as well. Billy Elikana is often in that gym. And I think that's obviously done a great thing for Volkov, as we saw in the Cyril Gane fight, with how much he was chasing the takedowns and trying to get to a submission game. At 37 years old, I know he's 1-1 in his last two fights, but I think we're seeing the best form of Volkov. Even when he is getting out grappled, he's trying to remain competitive by finding submissions or ways to get back to his feet. But in the striking realm is usually where he does his best work. And the fact that he has 50 professional fights to his name, it kind of just goes to show what kind of quality we normally get from Volkov when he steps foot in the cage. Now, this weekend, he's going up against the streaking Waldo Cortes-Acosta, who is coming off 3 straight knockout victories. The first over Ante Delia, which was a very weird fight where he nearly got finished, but then there was that eye poke that restarted the fight. Then he quickly got the finish over Delia. Then he starches Shamil Gaziev in a minute and a half. Then he goes out there and absolutely works Derek Lewis down and eventually gets the mercy stoppage, I think, in round 2. That's on the back end of losing that loss, actually, to Sergey Pavlovich by decision. That was one where I thought we saw a very tepid pace, a very composed pace from Pavlovich, and that was him going out there and outstriking Acosta and winning that fight on the scorecards. Now, Cortes-Acosta has really turned it up a gear, right? This is a guy whose first 3 of 4 UFC wins came by decision, whereas now 4 of his last 5 wins have come by knockout because he's starting to trust his power a little bit more. Now, this guy's a guy that came from a baseball background. He was a pitcher. I think he had some sort of elbow injury that eventually pushed him to the combat sports. He started off with boxing and then eventually went over to mixed martial arts. And his striking often is what gets the job done for him. He has a very good jab. He throws it with a lot of speed. He throws it with a lot of intent, and that usually helps him bust his opponents up from distance. But now we're seeing him throw that right hand with a little bit more confidence, a little bit more power, and that's what's translating to a lot of these finishes for him. His defensive grappling has obviously improved at a steady rate where opponents really struggle to get him to the ground and then they're forced to strike with him. We saw Sergey Pavlovich really struggle with getting him to the ground, and he struggled in that fight. Shamil Gaziev obviously struggled to get that fight to the ground. So momentum and confidence is really on Cortes-Acosta's side, and I think he's kind of overperforming compared to what a lot of people expected out of him when he originally made his UFC debut. Now, this weekend, he's going up against Alexander Volkov in a very interesting fight, right? A win here really propels one of these guys close to a title fight. For Volkov, I think this is one where he has a striking advantage. He clearly has the experience advantage, right? But I think he has a striking advantage. I think he has the grappling advantage as well. And I think he has good enough striking to mask takedowns behind it if he needs. And I think from there, he could possibly have some success. I expect Cortes-Acosta to eventually work back to his feet and then try to get back to his striking. What gives me some qualms here on the Volkov side is the speed advantage that Cortes-Acosta will have. Obviously, the range will be hard for Cortes-Acosta to maintain. He'll be at a 3-inch height advantage as well as a 2-inch reach. He'll be at a 3-inch height disadvantage and a 2-inch reach disadvantage. I think that's going to really cause him issues here in terms of trying to get that jab going against Volkov. He's going to have to be very quick with his jab, which he already is, but to get in and out of that range without eating big shots in return from Volkov, that's that's a puzzle that he's really going to have to solve here. That's what's making it a little bit harder for me to muster up a lot of confidence on Volkov at -175. I think he wins. and you have to give him the edge in terms of the striking, in terms of the grappling and the experience. So I have to lean with Volkov to end up outstriking Cortes-Acosta here, or at least outworking him, whether it's striking, whether it's clinching, whether it's grappling. And I think he wins this on the scorecards. But I'm going to be curious to see if there's actually love that comes in on Cortes-Acosta to put Volkov at a more bettable range. So I'm going to go Volkov here, but I'll just wait this line out, see if we can get that minus 150. I think he's the better fighter. I think he's close enough to his prime still, and I don't think the speed advantage will be as detrimental as I'm making it seem in my mind. So I'll go Volkov, and Volkov by decision.